Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. And for those of you who are new here, hi, I'm Amy. I'm a full-time reseller primarily on the Poshmark app, but I do dabble on other online platforms and I sell locally. So today is Monday, June 9th, and these are sales from over the weekend. I am really excited because I had 6 sales or 7 sales and none of them were under $50. They were all over $50, which is super exciting, and some interesting pieces. So you want to be sure to watch all the way to the end because hopefully you can learn some new things to keep your eyes out for when you're out thrifting. So let's get started. The first sale was a jewelry set, and it is a brooch and matching earrings. And it's this really pretty pink and blue rhinestone set. This was not marked with any designer marks or anything like that. I just picked it up because I thought the color combo was so pretty and the rhinestones looked like really nice quality. This sold for $78 for the set. Some designer pieces are unmarked, so it is possible that this was some designer that I was not aware of and that I could have potentially gotten more for it. However, I did try and research for a fair bit of time and I could not find anything just like it. So I priced it kind of on the higher end based on just the overall attractiveness of it. And it did take a fair bit to sell, over a year, but I'm really happy with that $78. I only paid about $5 for this. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods and any shipping discounts, that made my profit $57.40. That is amazing. I forgot to set out boxes, but I'll probably fix this up a little bit better. Okay, the next sale was also a great sale. It is this pair of vintage sterling silver earrings. And they kind of have a Native American Southwest vibe to them. They have that inlay turquoise, maybe black onyx. I think it's just maybe resin or something, but I really liked the looks of these. They sold for $50. I got these in a large lot of jewelry. A lot of it was like Southwest, like that kind of Native American looking. A lot of it was actually from Mexico or stamped Mexico. This took over a year to sell. Like I said, it sold for $50. I paid an average of $5 per item from that lot of jewelry. So that made my profit $35. From now on, when I discuss my profit, you can assume that I am deducting my cost of goods, any shipping discounts, and any website fees. Okay, so the next sale was a bundle sale. So I did say I didn't have any sales under $50. This bundle sold for $95. So if you break these up, the individual items did sell for under $50, but I'm not going to split hairs. I'm excited about my sales. So all of these items are mosaic pieces or Italian micro mosaic. The first piece is just a little ring. It's totally costume jewelry, just metal. I went to an estate sale of a woman who I assume did something similar to what I do, but I think she probably ordered the mystery jewelry boxes or boxes of jewelry from like Goodwill Blue Box and different things like that because she had an insane amount of jewelry. It was all in individual plastic bags. They had a whole room dedicated to the jewelry, and I mean, there had to have been thousands and thousands of pieces there, and they sold it in lots. The bags just had quite a few pieces in them for $10. This micro mosaic lot, I think I got like 20 pieces of it in the bag for $10, so I paid less than $1 a piece for them. This is a pretty unique piece as far as micro mosaic goes because it's such a large background, really pretty piece. So I did kind of want to get more for this, but I am really staying firm with my summer of sales mentality right now. I am trying to accept reasonable offers and move things out, get some good sales. You know, some micro mosaic stuff can bring higher prices and some just sits there. In my experience, it just sits there. So I decided to accept this offer. It was close to half off of what I had it listed. Now, I'm not going to accept half off on every listing that I have, but certain things I'm willing to consider it. Of course, real gold jewelry and designer bags, I'm definitely not accepting low offers like that, but I was happy to move this along. This is another really pretty piece. It's a bracelet. This is, I think, more what they call legitimate micro mosaic because the pieces are so tiny, but really a pretty link bracelet. And you know, I just decided that I need to move things out and keep my inventory flowing in and out instead of just in, because I just got to a point where I just have too much stuff and I need things to be moving through. Plus, you know, as we've discussed with the economy and kind of how competitive reselling has gotten, I just need to keep the momentum going and sell stuff. That's what I am in this business to do. Okay, so like I said, it sold for $95 for all 3 pieces. I paid less than $1 a piece, so I just put $3 as my cost of goods. So that made my profit $73. I'm totally happy with that. Really a great sale, and I'm sure the buyer is going to be excited to get that stuff. Okay, the next item is another impulse buy from Kurt Geiger. Trust me, I have not purchased from there in, I think, 4 to 6 months. But the last time I did, I bought quite a few things because I felt like they were really having a good sale. And this item I had really wanted when it was full price, and it was like $350 when it was full price. And there was no way I was going to pay that for it. And then I got it when it went on sale for $165. And then I got it, and it's just, I don't know, it's just not as cool as I thought it would be. So I listed it, and it is this Kurt Geiger Eagle Head. This is a hard-sided clutch. So it is a purse, and it opens like this. So like an evening bag, not very much room. It does come with a little chain, but it looks so cool when I'm like talking about it and holding it up here. But I don't know, in person, it just wasn't quite as cool as I wanted it to be. And I decided, I mean, really, where am I carrying this? I don't know. Who am I kidding? Hopefully I have learned my lesson and I will stop impulse buying from Kurt Geiger. Anyways, I ended up selling it for $235. So I made my money back. It was on sale for $165, but then there was tax, so I paid about $175 for it. So that made my profit $13. You know, it wasn't my intention to make a profit on this, but I am glad that I did not lose money by being impulsive. And most of the items that I've bought from Kurt Geiger, I have made a little bit of profit on. So I guess it's not the worst thing in the world. But I just don't need to be buying things that I don't need or that I'm not sure I really want. And one of you guys did mention in one of my last videos that you can also get Kurt Geiger on sale through Nordstrom Rack, and you can return stuff through Nordstrom Rack. But for some reason, the stuff that they get on Nordstrom Rack isn't typically the stuff that I want. They don't get all the same stuff, but I do check there frequently too, or actually I've tried to check there less. So it did come with a dust bag and a box. I have found that the Kurt Geiger stuff is really nicely made. The quality is really nice, and I think that for a, you know, I mean, I wouldn't consider this luxury, but for a nicer bag, I do think that it's worth the price. Okay, so I said my profit was $13. I am going to wrap this up a little bit nicer, but I think I've fiddled around with it enough on camera that you guys may not be interested in seeing me wrap it more. Okay, the next item was a little bit of a hard one for me. And in fact, the next 3 pieces I have thrift haul videos for that I haven't published yet. So hopefully I can get at least one of those out before this video comes out. But it is this vintage suede leather fringe coat. This is probably from the 1940s or the 1950s. As you can see, it does say Bill or something in there. But I just thought this was a super cool piece. It does fit me, but I just don't find myself wearing leather jackets like this, particularly brown ones. So I listed it. Here is the old label. Isn't that cool? There you go. Can you see that better? This could be buckskin, meaning deer, but it didn't have any labels to say for sure. So this sold for $110. That was why it was a little bit hard because, you know, while $110 is nothing to shake a stick at, is that the right term? Probably not. Anyways, I kind of wanted to get more for it because I liked it and it fit me, but I thought that 110 was reasonable. And I think in the past when I've had similar jackets to this, that's kind of the range that they sold in after I held out for a long time waiting for a high price. And this has only been listed for a few weeks to a month. And I'm really trying to, again, focus on moving things through. If I am not going to keep it and wear it, then I need to sell it. And, you know, $110 is just fine. I paid up for this a little bit. I paid $15 for it. I just got it at a Goodwill in Spokane, Washington. I was really excited when I found it. I think it's a super cool piece. So that made my profit $73. I'm happy with that. I am just going to be happy that it will go to someone else who will actually wear it and enjoy it instead of keeping it and having it either hang on my inventory racks here or hang in my closet and not get worn, at least very often. What do you guys think? Do you think that was a good price for that jacket? I was really hoping to get closer to the $150 mark for it, but it is what it is. Oh, I forgot to mention we went to the river again last weekend. I did mention it in last week's video, but we had a wonderful time. The weather was perfect, pretty hot. The river was still quite cold. We did get in, and I'm sure you can tell I did get some color. And we rented a cabin there this time. Usually we tent camp, and I think I might be ruined because it's so much nicer and so much easier to have that cabin with shower and toilet and air conditioning. And I don't know, it's tempting to just do it again, but it is kind of pricey for what it is, especially when you can set up a tent for free. So maybe we'll just do it every other time instead of every single time. Okay. So the next item that just sold as I was getting ready for this video, and it is a Nordstrom signature knit sweater duster. So it's like a midi length and it has slits on the sides. It's buttons all the way up. It is a cashmere cotton blend. So that is why I picked it up. I was just flipping through the racks and I touched this and I could tell that it was a nice, you know, fabric content makeup because it's super soft and delicate. And I almost didn't get it because it was just Nordstrom's signature brand, but it just felt so nice. I decided to pick it up and I'm glad I did. It sold quick. I think this has only been listed 2 or 3 weeks and it sold for $68. I think I priced it initially at Oh no, not $68, $50. I think I had it priced at $69 to start out with, but I'm happy with 50. I paid about $6 for it, so that made my profit $34. I think that's great for a quick flip, and especially for something that I kind of considered not picking up. Okay, the next item is kind of an interesting sale. It is a dress for men. It's kind of a tunic, or it's definitely kind of has that tunic style. This is the brand, which I'd never heard of. Again, it was, you know, when I just felt the weight of the fabric, it has these slits up the side. So I looked it up when I was there at the Goodwill, and I saw that this brand has a somewhat high retail. I think this retailed initially for just over $200. It was on sale when I listed this, but there was also really good comps for this brand. So this is what sold for $68. It also sold relatively quickly in less than a month, a few weeks. So I am really happy with that. I think maybe I priced this at $89 to start out with, and the buyer offered me that $68. But when I went to list it, I started thinking, you know, that it might be a harder sell, especially because there's no men's dress category on Poshmark. So I just made sure to use as many good keywords as possible. I think I listed it under tunics for men. I'm not really sure, but I also put unisex in the title. And was there a size mark on that? Oh yeah, it was a small, but definitely generous sizing. If I remember, I'll put a mod shot of it here so you can get a better idea. Okay, I only paid about $5 for this, so that made my profit $49.40. I'm absolutely thrilled with this weekend sales. If I didn't already mention it, everything sold on Poshmark. I didn't have any sales on other platforms over the weekend. Although the last week and this week, I've started to list more on Chairish again. I'm going back to my weekly goal of listing at least 5 items. I'm going back to my weekly goal of listing at least 50 items, 5 on Poshmark, 5 on Chairish, 5 days a week. So that's 10 listings per day, 5 days a week. That may seem easy for some people, it may seem hard for other people, but I really need to be listing a bigger volume than I have been listing. And I've been listing more like 20, 25 a week. And I really need to move through this inventory. So that is it for today, but don't go anywhere. This video will continue with what else I sell. If you haven't already and you enjoy my videos, I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel. It's totally free, and that way you won't miss any of my future uploads. Also, if you could give this video a thumbs up, that really helps me out. All right, I'll see you in a couple days with what else I sell. Hey again, it's Tuesday and I've got 6 more sales to ship out. It's really been a busy 24 hours. They, however, are not all over $50, but that is okay. I have committed to accepting reasonable offers because it is the summer of sales again and I am ready to move out some inventory. So the first item that sold is this vintage brooch, and it is shaped like a Spanish ship. It's very detailed, really cool piece. I also picked this up at that estate sale where they had bags and bags of jewelry for $10. So I paid less than $1 for this. It sold for $20. Which I kind of felt like it should be worth more than that, but when I got that offer, I checked comps, and that was in line with what the comps were, like $15 to $25. So considering I paid $1 for it, I think that is just fine. That made my profit $15, or possibly less than $1, because the bags of jewelry had 10 plus items in them. So That was a pretty great sale. Although the level of most of the jewelry wasn't like super high end. So I tried to be particular about what I was picking up. Okay, the next item that sold is another brooch. That has only been listed a few months, I think. And the next piece has been listed for probably over 2 years, and it's just this green colored stone brooch. It looks like jade, but I think it's probably like aventurine or some other not as desirable stone, and it sold for $20. Again, I paid about $3 for this, so that made my profit $13. Like I said, not quite as exciting of profits as yesterday, although I do have a few good sales to share with you today. I guess all sales are good sales. You know, I just really get more excited about higher dollar sales, and I know that a lot of people do really well with bread and butter items, you know, and items in the $15 to $25 range. It's just not how I envision my business. Okay, so the next item is a pair of Taos, I don't know how you say it, Taos, these metallic colored pumps. And this is a comfort shoe brand, and I do pick this up when I see it for a reasonable price in nice condition. These were in excellent condition, in fact. And for this brand, if you wait, you can get, you know, $40 to $60, depending on the style of shoe. But it's the summer of sales, and I am accepting reasonable offers. So this buyer offered me $35, and I thought about taking it, but I counteroffered her with $42, and she counteroffered me with $38, and I accepted that. Because of course, immediately after I sent her the counter offer, I thought, oh dang, I should have just accepted that. What if she disappears? Plus, I think I paid $9 for these, which is a little bit higher. Maybe they were half off, but I'm gonna leave my cost of goods as $9. So that made my profit $21.40. These weren't listed a terribly long time, maybe somewhere around a month to 6 weeks. So that is great for a quick flip. Okay, the next item that sold is this pair of vintage Rockies jeans, and they have this kind of V, I think they call it a yoke in the back there. These are, I think, from the 1980s, and I picked them up at a little hole-in-the-wall thrift store in a small town. These have been listed for about a year or over a year. Maybe it's been longer than that. Anyways, they ended up selling for $81. The interesting thing is that just yesterday I had cross-listed these to eBay, and I don't know if maybe they saw them there and I had the shipping higher. I can't remember for sure. And then they sold on Poshmark for, I think it was a full price sale. I think she just bought them outright. Whatever, I'm happy that they sold for that great price because I've had them listed for a fair amount of time. I did only pay $2 for these, which is great. So that made my profit $62.80. That is excellent. I'm very happy with that, and happy to move these out, especially because they have been listed for quite some time. I did get a couple of different kind of stickers. I think I already showed you guys these, but in case you didn't see them, I got these on Amazon that says, "Your order made my day. I hope this package makes yours," which I thought was really cute. And then this one is the ones that I have always been using that say, "Thank you for supporting my small business." So some of the packages I'm putting both on. Some of them I'm just trying to put one on. I don't know. You know, it's fun. Stickers are fun, and hopefully it kind of makes the buyer happy. I think I'm going to need a bigger box for that. And the next item that sold is this men's Untuckit dress shirt. And I know that this can be a good brand, but I don't typically pick it up. This was an extra large. My husband picked this up when we were out thrifting, thinking that he might like it. And then when he got home and tried it on, he just didn't care for the way it fit him, so he gave it to me to sell. It's possible that I paid for it anyways, because usually I pay for stuff when we're out thrifting. So it sold for $29. It was listed, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. I think we paid about $6 for it. So that made my profit $17.20. That's just fine. You know, I don't know if I will pick up Untuckits in the future unless they are a really affordable price. Let me know, how do you guys do with this brand? But this was in really nice condition and pretty easy to photograph, list, and ship. So I am happy with that $17 profit, which I wouldn't have had he not picked that up. Okay, and the next item is this vintage Lacoste little velour kind of tracksuit jacket top. Has this kind of rainbow pattern, really cute little piece. I used, you know, Y2K, of course, and tracksuit in there. This was given to me and it sold for $30. So that's pretty great. I have no cost of goods. I thought it was really cute. So that made my profit $24. This also took 2 or 3 months to sell, not a terribly long time. I am tracking, you know, the categories of items that I sell. And this week I have quite a few clothing sales, which is interesting because I've been considering not buying and selling clothing anymore. So it's just hard to know. If I'm going to keep doing it, I just really have to be more disciplined about getting it listed and not letting it pile up, because that is the problem for me. And maybe figure out an even better storage system and continue to just accept reasonable offers so that I can move it in and move it out. You guys who've been watching for a while know that I've talked about this before in the past. Some things are easy for me to change and learn, and some things are not so easy for me. And, you know, old habits die hard, they say. Although I will say I have not been thrifting. My husband and I did stop, I think it's been 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, we stopped at a little thrift store on the way to camping and I bought one item. And I have not been to an estate sale or a thrift store since then. So that is pretty impressive. But part of my deal and my goal setting is that I have to do 50 listings in a week. So I have to meet my goal for listings in order to go thrifting. And then when I go thrifting, I have limitations on what I can buy and the number of items that I can buy. And this isn't for financial reasons at all, which is kind of the hard thing. You know, I have plenty of money to buy stuff at the thrift store. I just don't have enough time or discipline to get it all listed. So anyways, I'm just trying to have more balance, and I'm still going to thrift and do things that I enjoy, but I'm trying to get through some of this listing and rein it in a little bit, just so I don't have such a crazy amount of stuff. Okay, that is it for today, but don't go anywhere. This video will continue with what else I sell. I have been really listing a lot on Poshmark and Chairish, and I'm sure that's why I'm having, you know, more offers. However, Chairish hasn't caught up yet, but hopefully it does in the next couple of weeks here. Okay, I'll be right back. Hey again, it's Wednesday and I have 3 more sales to ship out and they're all really pretty great. This is turning out to be a really wonderful week. I'm really excited. Okay, so the first sale was on Chairish and it is this cut crystal decanter. And then I paired it with some little rocks glasses. Now, these weren't originally meant to be together or as a set. I just realized I still have a price tag on this. But I thought I'd try out just doing a set instead of selling the decanter individually and the glasses individually. I wouldn't say it worked out that well because this has been listed for probably over 2 years. It did end up selling for $112 for the set, which I'm just fine with. Like I've mentioned before, I have not been having good luck with crystal decanters. So I am not purchasing them anymore unless they are, you know, Tiffany or Waterford or some like noted brand that I can look up comps for. So I paid about $20 for all 3 pieces. That made my profit $70.66. I'm happy with that and I'm happy to just move this out and I hope the buyer is happy with it. I'm going to move this out of the way and package it up off camera. Now that decanter did have a chip on the stopper and some watermarks inside, so that's probably one of the reasons it took longer to sell. If you are interested in selling on Chairish, I always have the Chairish seller's guide linked in the description box below, and it tells you everything you could want to know about selling on there. Okay, the next 2 sales sold on Poshmark, and the first sale is this Louis Vuitton bag charm, and it's pretty good size. It has 4 different actual charms on it. These have really nice weight and make a nice noise when you walk around. I'm not sure if you guys know, but bag charms are very trendy. Well, they were last year and they still are this year. So I saw that a woman had a purse listed and it had 2 bag charms on it. And so I asked her if it included the bag charms, and she said yes. And then she sent me an offer for $400 for the purse and the 2 bag charms. Now, I really wanted one of the bag charms. It is one that's very difficult to find, and it has a bird on it. I will insert a picture here in a minute of the bag and the charms that I got with this. But so I bought it because I wanted that charm for myself, and then I was hopeful that I could make a profit on the other pieces, and then the bag charm would be free for me. So this sold for $248. I think that is great. That is right in line with what the comp said. Like I said, I paid $400 for everything. So I'm putting my cost of goods as $100 for this charm. So that made my profit $96.08. I think that is wonderful. I'm very happy about that. That did take longer to sell. I think it's been 4 to 6 months since I've had that listed, but still a nice $100 profit, or almost $100 profit, is really great. The next item sold very quickly. Actually, it is a pair of vintage Levi's, and these are the orange tab, and they are bell bottoms. So they ended up selling for $75. I have some other Levi's bell bottoms listed that have been listed forever and have not sold, but they were hemmed, and they were hemmed to a short length, like 26 inches, I think. So I didn't realize that when I bought them, but I believe that's one of the reasons they didn't sell. Also, I think I had them priced too high. These sold for $75, which is a little bit below eBay comps, but because these had this fade line on both, or fold line, I'm not sure, on both legs, and then there was another faded line and a little frayed area, I just decided to go ahead and accept that. I think I listed them for $125 and they sold in less than a week for $75. There were no other likes on it though, except for just this person who bought them. So I am just going to celebrate a quick flip, especially because I only paid $1 for these at an estate sale. So that made my profit $59. I'm absolutely thrilled with that. Happy to move these in and move them out, considering that the other ones that I purchased, you know, didn't sell quickly. In fact, I have listed 1 or 2 pairs of those up for auction on eBay with a lower starting price. I don't think I have any bids yet, but hopefully those will sell. And I'm just going to, I think I started them at $59, and maybe I'll have to lower that even. But I want to move those out because I've had them for at least a year, maybe close to 2 years. Well, that is it for today, but don't go anywhere. This video will continue with what else I sell this week, and I am super excited about my sales so far. Hopefully it continues. I set my 50 item listing goal this week, and it was from Wednesday to Wednesday, and it's Wednesday at about noon right now, and I've already hit 51 listings. So I exceeded my goal, and I might actually do some more just because I like to exceed my goals instead of just meeting them. I have kind of lost my mojo on organizing, but I am being productive. So I'm happy about that. And I think I already said this week, I haven't been to a thrift store, but I am going to reward myself for meeting my listing challenge and probably go to the Goodwill this afternoon, but with some restrictions. Okay, I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. It's Thursday, and oh my gosh, you guys, this is turning out to be such an amazing week. I had 2 more sales on Chairish. One of them is super exciting. I had a sale on eBay. Finally, you guys, I actually cross-listed some stuff to eBay thanks to Vendu, and I do have a discount code in the description box below if you want to try their cross-listing service. I'm really happy that I did, and just this one sale will more than pay for the whole month of the service. So I really recommend that you give it a try. Then I also had 2 sales on Poshmark. So it's just been crazy. I have been very productive this week and listing a lot, and I'm sure that is why I'm having these sales. Okay, so I'll start with the Chairish sales. And the first sale is this vintage kind of Kinetic metal sculpture. And it is, I think this is a homemade piece. It's like set on like a big bolt, which is pretty cool. I just picked it up because you guys know I love birds, and I just thought it was a cool piece with movement. When it moves, it kind of, let's see, kind of makes a little bit of noise. Anyways, this sold for $127, which I'm very excited about. I only paid $3 for this at an estate sale, so that made my profit $97.82. I am thrilled about that. This isn't even the super exciting sale, so I am going to move this out of the way and package it up off camera. Okay, so the next sale is 2 pieces of furniture. It's like a pair of little credenzas or record cabinets by Broyhill, Brasilia. And I really hope that I can find the footage of me finding them in a thrift store, because I was so excited and I was going to make a short about it and I never did, but maybe I will now that I've sold them. And the pair sold for $1,000. I'm so thrilled with that. They are going to be blanket wrap shipped through Chairish. And I only paid, I can't remember exactly how much I paid, but less than $15 a piece. So less than a total of $30. They did take a couple of years to sell, a year to 2 years, I think. So after Chairish's fee and my cost of goods, that made my profit $750. I am absolutely so thrilled. I am already over, exceeded my 20 item per week sales goal, and I'm over $2,000 in sales for the week, and it's only Thursday. Okay, so the next item that sold, these next 2 items sold on Poshmark, and it's just a pair of Dansko black leather clogs, but these were in really excellent condition, and I picked these up at the Goodwill. I was a little bit worried because after the fact, I realized that they were a narrow size, and I thought maybe that might make them harder to sell, but they ended up selling relatively quickly for $49. I think they've been listed less than a month, 2 weeks to a month. So I'm really thrilled that they sold quickly. Plus, the Goodwill only had them marked at $6, which is really great for a brand new pair of Danskos. I had kind of stopped getting excited about picking up Danskos over the last year, but the last few pairs that I've picked up have sold for great prices and pretty quickly. So I'm going to continue to keep my eyes out for Danskos in nice condition at the right price, of course, because I am happy to have these, you know, quick sales. And I think I had these listed at $49. It's possible the buyer got an offer to Geiger with discounted shipping, but they didn't send me an offer. So that made my profit $33.20. I'm totally happy with that. Really excited to have a quick sale. Yes, 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 that's what we all want. Okay, and then I had another sale on Poshmark, and this is a pair of mother jeans, and it is a desirable style called the Looker Ankle Fray. They're a size 28, but when I bought them, I didn't realize that they had this, you know, when it kind of puckers there, when the elastic kind of gives out. So I didn't realize it had that, and I was going to return them, and then I didn't make it back in time for their My Goodwill. You can take items back for store credit within 14 days. Anyway, so I decided to list them, and I listed them, I think at like 40 something. You know, typically you get higher prices for mother, but because of that flaw, but then the buyer offered me $35. Because they were flawed, I just accepted that $35 offer. They had been listed about 2 weeks, and there was no likes on them, which I was pretty surprised about for mother jeans. But anyways, I'm happy with the $35. I paid about $9 for these. I got quite a few pairs one day when I was there, and I have a haul coming up from that, which I haven't edited yet. So hopefully I'll get that edited. That's the story of my life right now. I'm working on things. There's only so many, you know, things I can work on at once, and only so much I can get done at once. So I'm just trying to be patient with myself and make improvements as I can. Okay, so they sold for $35. I paid $9, so that made my profit $19. I'm just fine with that, especially for a relatively quick flip and for an item that was somewhat flawed and that I almost returned instead of keeping. Okay, the next item is the item that sold on eBay, and it is a pair of vintage Levi's orange tabs. So I was talking about these earlier in the week. I had these listed on Poshmark for a long time for a lot higher price, and I put them on eBay for auction, and I started the auction at 59 something, and it only got one bidder, but for $59. And since I had these for 2 years, also these are the bell bottoms, but they had been home hemmed, and it was not a very good hem job, not perfectly even or straight or anything like that. So hopefully the buyer read the description and I won't get a return on my first eBay sale in years. But I'm going to think positive. They're going to be really excited that they got a good deal on these, and they're still really cute. They can have them, you know, the hem improved or whatever. So I charged shipping on these, but I undercharged by about $1. And I paid $6 for these at the Goodwill. So that made my profit $41 after fees. I'm happy with that. Happy to move these along since they had not sold before then. And I really hope that everything goes smoothly with the sale. I did have these listed as shipping ground advantage, but because of the weight and the size, even in a poly mailer, it was cheaper to just ship them in one of these post office priority flat rate envelopes. So with eBay, apparently you get a little bit of a discount when you buy the label through there. So it ended up being $8.40, I think, and I charged $7.50. Anyways, blah, blah, blah. I am super excited to have my first eBay sale, and hopefully this will motivate me to continue to cross list over there. I just, as you can tell, I'm trying to make improvements to my business and my organization and reduce how much I'm thrifting, and that's just a lot to kind of take on and try and make changes to. So the cross listing has gone by the wayside a little bit, or I just haven't done as much as I would like over there. But this really motivates me that I listed it and it sold within a week and I still made a great profit. So all of those things are really good things. Okay, well that is it for today, but we still have 2 more days in the week, so don't go anywhere. This video will continue with what else I sell. Have I shipped every day this week? I think I have, because I've had something, or multiple items, and I like shipping quickly when I can. So anyways, I hope your guys' sales are as good as mine, and if your sales are slow and you see my sales being good, it's because I am listing. I know that it is because I'm listing, and that is the main reason. So get to listing if you aren't already. Okay, I'll be right back. Hey again, it's actually Sunday, and I didn't have any sales on Friday, and then I came to the shop yesterday and they had told me that they were going to be redoing the siding on my building, but it wasn't supposed to start till Monday. Well, they started yesterday and they had everything sealed off and blocked off, so I couldn't get in. Anyways, so I decided to share the 2 sales that I had on Saturday morning with you today and finish up that video. And I do have some more sales to ship out on Monday, so I will share those with you next week, of course. Okay, so both of these items sold on Poshmark, and the first was a bundle of these 2 paperweights. And let's see. Oh my gosh, you guys, I have had these listed for years, over 3 years. And I was going to pull them for my yard sale, and I think I got distracted and didn't, which is kind of interesting because I've been saying that with a couple of things recently that I was going to pull it for my yard sale, which was 2 months or so ago now, and now they're selling. So I don't know. This person actually bought each one individually and then messaged me and said, can these be shipped together? And I said, we'd need to create a bundle, but she bought them for full price after all that time. So I bundled them and then sent her an offer of $1 off. So the bundle sold for $35. I didn't have them priced that high, but apparently, I don't know what the deal was with these paperweights. I thought they were pretty, but I won't be buying paperweights again unless I know what they are. Okay, so $35 for the pair. I only paid about $2 a piece for these, so my total cost of goods was $4, and that made my profit $24. Nothing really exciting, but boy, oh boy, am I glad to get rid of those. Oh, and I tried out some of the sticker nail polish things, and I really like the way they look. They're fun. You see these ones with the sparkles, but boy, they were a hassle to put on. They probably took me 45 minutes to put on, and they're not right. They're kind of wrinkled and stuff. So if you've done these before and know a better way, let me know, or if you have any tips, because I do really like the way they look. And, you know, they're not very expensive, but I don't like the way they feel, and a couple of them are already peeling just from yesterday. Anyways, not important. If you're still watching, maybe leave a nail polish, or I think there's like a, fingernail polish emoji down below. Okay, so the next item that sold is this pair of UGG velour jogger pants. Yeah, sort of jogger sweatpants. And I just got sucked in by the feel of these. If you haven't felt any of UGG's clothing or robes, somehow they just make stuff so soft. And I was kind of thinking I might keep these when I bought them, but with my aging process, I've been having hot flashes, and I just don't wear pants at home anymore because I just get too hot. I mean, you know, I wear shorts, but I don't wear, you know, sweatpants to lounge around the house. Anyways, too much information. These sold for $32. They didn't take a terribly long time to sell. Maybe, I don't know, 4 months or less, which I'm happy with. I think I paid about $6 for these. So that made my profit $19.60. I am happy with that. Oh, another thing is that, so I'm trying to stay motivated to list and move out inventory. And I have really been dreaming about a Ford Bronco, one of the new ones. I just love the way they look. And my car is really old. It's a 2004. But it's been paid for, I don't know, 10 years now. And it's really nice not to have a car payment. And it's a reliable car. I don't have any issues with it. But anyways, I just started thinking, if I have a goal to work towards, like I need to save up some more money to put money down on the car before I'm willing, because I don't want to have, you know, like a $600 car payment or anything like that. I'm just not up for that. So I need to save a certain amount to get my payment within my budget. And so I'm thinking if I have that as a goal, it will motivate me to list more and stay active. So I went and test drove one yesterday. Even though I'm not ready, I just, you know, I think like I've been listening to a lot of books on tape about kind of manifesting things, or, you know, thinking about what you want in order to get it. And honestly, the one I test drove, I was kind of disappointed about because it wasn't quite what I wanted, but it made me realize what I do want in a car, and I may have to save more money. Anyways, I'm just kind of excited about, you know, trying to generate more income and stuff so that I can meet a goal and get a new car. Okay, so this week turned out to be amazing, as you guys have seen. I'm so excited to have a great week like this. So my total sales for the week were $2,676, which is awesome. Even if I take off that $1,000 furniture sale, I still sold $1,676 worth of other smaller items, which is wonderful. My total cost of goods was $420, and my total profit was $1,698.56. Yes, I exceeded my $1,000 profit goal. A lot of you guys said in my recent video that you thought me tracking my categories was interesting. Some of you said that it's a hard kind of metric to accurately track because a lot of other factors go into play. And I realize that, but I do think it'll still be interesting for me and for you guys. So I'm going to keep sharing it. Also, I think it was Amy recommended that I maybe track my average profit per category. And I think that is a great idea. I don't think that I'll do that on a weekly basis, but if I remember, maybe I'll try and do it on a monthly basis, just because it'll just end up being so many statistics. And maybe you guys like that, but I don't know if I can do that every single week. Okay, So anyways, I sold a total of 23 items, which exceeded my goal for this week to sell 20 or more items. I'm super happy about that. That made my average sale price $116.35. That is so amazing. My average cost of goods was $18.26 per sale, and my average profit per sale was $73.85. All amazing statistics. Okay, so I sold 1 purse, 5 pieces of jewelry, 10 pieces of clothing, 2 pairs of shoes, whatever, 3 hard goods, 1 accessory, and 1 furniture. So I list a mix of things, you know, on a regular basis, but just seeing that clothing, you know, blew everything else out of the water might, you know, make me think more. I guess last week I only sold 2 pieces of clothing. And the week before, I only sold 4 pieces of clothing. So this just happened to be an especially, you know, successful clothing week. I did decide to, you know, of course, start accepting more reasonable offers. So anyways, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Again, thank you guys all. So recently I asked you to put a, you know, a certain kind of emoji if you had made it to the end of the video, and a lot of you did that, and I just really appreciate that. It doesn't take very much time, and hopefully it'll really help kind of boost my videos in the YouTube algorithm, which is really great. Thank you guys so very much for your support, and I appreciate all of you guys who comment, who have subscribed, who watch every single week. It just means the world to me. So, okay, I'm such a sap. Look at me. I'm tearing up. I'm always like that. Anyways, I will see you guys all again next week, and hopefully your sales are great, and hopefully my sales continue to be great. Okay, love you guys. Bye.